Hello everyone, welcome back to this episode of Bitcoin Trade. Um, I actually did an episode, but some recent news came up, and I decided to go ahead and just redo this episode. Um, and some prices have changed, so I'm going to do some chart analysis, and I'm going to do something that has caught my attention. Um, let's go to the news first. Now, well, let's just take a quick look at the price. This is Coinbase, so I have Coinbase here at 479.74. And if you look here, it looks like it's bouncing right in there. It's really getting close. These two lines are really getting close. So you're about to see something go up or something go down. And let's take a look at the several different prices. Here's the Chinese, the Bitfin, BitC, and Bitstamp. Now, if you look, BitC is lower. Bitfin is now the highest. And so, but within a dollar, within a dollar of all these. So it's not that bad. And then the Chinese is like in the middle, and then BitC's down. So we're starting to see some I guess, more normalizing, where I'm starting to see these prices, Coinbase, start to pair up, and then BitC starting to go down. So you're seeing like about an $8 to $7 difference in price, and then Chinese, well, they're not awake yet, so they're probably not trading, so that's why they're in the middle. Anyways, that's just a quick price here. Let's go to the headlines here. Okay, and let's just go, and I'll just take a quick look at this here. Why Bitcoin's mining can no longer ignore Moore's law. Kind of want to talk about that a little bit. I did mention that the mining pools will start dropping out because it's going to get harder and harder to mine Bitcoins. And so, I think that's going to happen, and it's just going to drive the price up as it's harder to get Bitcoins. But it may also affect the network, and I think what you're going to start seeing is you're going to start seeing major mining facilities located in strategic locations to keep Bitcoin going. And so that's what you're going to see until only one remains, and the one that stands, or the one that's still standing, eventually that's where you're going to need to go. Alright, that's where you're all going to need to go. Anyway, that's my opinion on that. Anyway, I want to go on to some other ones, and here's another one. Okay, right here. Another Bitcoin mining scam. Group Bitcoin isn't paying account holders. And if you ask me what I think about mining and cloud mining and all that, I think I've never really like like computer mined Bitcoins. I came in a little bit later. Let me see, 2013 November, around that time, and so I've never seen a mining rig, and from what I can tell, it almost seems like a mining rig manufacturer or this cloud mining, they seem to be prone to scams, and they're in some ways even worse than like the scammers who are trying to scam your Bitcoins, because you know, for you to actually get into the mining business, you have to actually believe that there will be a mining rig at some time in the future, or Bitcoins will come from that mining rig. So you have to put your money in, right? You have to pay into it, and that kind of scam is hard to avoid, because in order for you to get anything out of it, you have to put into it. I know that sounds normal, right? But the risk involved is higher, in my opinion, than actually trading Bitcoins, because in order for someone to take Bitcoins from you, you have to give them your Bitcoins. And there's many ways you can, there have been many ways that people have tried to do that. They've used checks, they've done wire reversals, of any kind of wire. They've stopped payment on a check, on a cashier's check, you name it. They've even, this has been a popular thing to do of recent, is cash deposits. They are cash depositing and then taking their money back. They still have the receipt, so they go back right after they deposit and get their money back. So what you're seeing now is people being scammed on cash deposits, because they're making deposits and then they're claiming that the payment has been made. They take a picture of the receipt, they send the receipt, but then right after they do that, after you confirm the payment's been made, they go right back to the bank, and with their receipt they get their money back, usually done within the hour, or at least the same day. And so that's kind of been popular, but all you have to do is just wait, right? All you have to do is wait like an hour, maybe 2 hours. You just have to keep checking your online statement, right? Online banking, just go online and check it once, twice, 3 times, see if it's still there. Other ways to combat that is, once the cash deposit has been made by the buyer, you can just head on to the bank and take that money out, because that's available to you immediately. So if you go to the bank and the money is not there, and the payment was there, what's happened is someone has basically deposited that money into their account, or into your account, and then taken that money out within a short time frame, of course. If it's done next day, they will not receive their money, even though they had the receipt. They will need your permission to do so. So as far as scams, the buying and selling is more easier to control, because remember, for someone to scam you of your Bitcoins, you have to give it to them. Alright, so it's a little bit harder. In my opinion, it's harder to scam someone who already has Bitcoins and it's easier for someone to scam someone who doesn't even have their Bitcoins. Alright, they're just taking your money and then making you wait and wait and wait. Don't even answer to your calls, your emails, nothing. So in my opinion, mining to some degree is more prone to scams than trading, because you simply just don't have to trade with anybody, right? You can just actually stop them from trading. You say, I'm no longer trading with you, goodbye, right? With mining, you've already paid money to get Bitcoins, and so now you're at the mercy of this cloud mining, or your mining rig, or your mining pool, to produce or come up with Bitcoins. And so I have this also weird theory where I don't really even believe mining exists at all. I mean, I really doubt that mining produces Bitcoins. That's just my opinion, but I could be wrong. And if you came to me and you asked me if I have a mining rig, my answer ironically would be yes, I do have a mining rig. But my mining rig is a different technology altogether. It does require computing power, but the computing power doesn't come from a computer. It comes from another person. Another person is my computer. The other person is becomes a part of the computing power. And if you ask me, the only thing that can, and I'll go, this is going back to this article right here, why Bitcoin mining can no longer ignore Moore's law, is because, yeah, those computer chips, they're gonna reach, well, supposedly they're supposed to be doubling every 2 years or something like that, right? Well, I think the only thing that can keep up with that pace, believe it or not, is the computing power of another person. And so that's kind of where the connection of virtual reality and you, that's where the connection is made. You become a part of the network. You, the physical person. Anyways, so I think the physical person is capable of keeping up with Moore's law versus a computer chip per se. So anyways, let's go back to this scam here. And so here's what's this? Oh, that's not it. Here's a scam right here. Cloud mining. I'd be very wary of cloud mining, and especially the way I create mining rigs and how I mine for Bitcoins are totally different than what this is. The way I do things is a complete different technology. The computing power doesn't come from a chip, it comes from a person. Anyways, so that's that, and I've also noticed between these two articles here, this one and this one, the reason why I bring this up and I talk about it is I've noticed miners, they're getting less and less Bitcoins, or they're running out of Bitcoins faster. Could be a couple of reasons. As you know, the difficulty of getting Bitcoins is getting harder and harder. So they're getting less and less Bitcoins. So the price has been dropping, and to get the same amount, they have to give more Bitcoins. But they're getting less Bitcoins every time. So I've noticed that it's getting harder and harder, and even for me, to get Bitcoins. Matter of fact, I've had to now increase my mining pool, quote unquote. I call it my mining pool because it's now become more than one miner providing me Bitcoins. It has become several miners, and I'm going to assume that that's going to grow in the future just to get the same amount of Bitcoins that I'm used to getting. So I'm actually developing a quote-unquote mining pool. Not a little bit different than what some people may think or consider, because my mining pool doesn't, it requires people, not machines. And so anyways, for me, you think a machine is something that you can rely on, and yes, you can, but my technology doesn't rely on a machine. My technology relies on another person, another entity, at least another entity. So, and I think if you're grouping entities together versus grouping machines together, depends, what kind of scam you're trying to avoid, but obviously even mining scams are pretty prevalent with the mining that I do with people, natural persons. It's a little bit harder to scam because, remember, for someone to scam you of your Bitcoins that you own, that you have to give it to them. If you don't give them to them, there's no way they could scam you. There's no way anyone can trick you into giving them Bitcoins because, well, that's the whole point of Bitcoin, is you don't have to trust this person to do a transaction. You don't even have to trust them at all. All they have to do is come up with their part of the transaction, and then you release Bitcoins. Right? So, anyways, there. Sorry about that. Anyway, there's that there, and then also I wanted to talk about this as well, because this is kind of news, and I have a theory about this too. It's crazy theory time. Breaking. This is breaking. Russia plans Bitcoin ban by 2015, and if this is how the Russians are going to be leading, then there's a really good chance the Chinese will start doing the same. Probably India, any country that's connected to the Russian border or the Chinese border, you're gonna start seeing the same. You're gonna start seeing possible bans coming in, and I think it's for obvious reasons. Although down here, I've read this article, it does state like, you specifically, let me see, funding terrorism, buying illicit goods, and rendering illicit service, and money laundering. In other words, all the things Russian fiat currency has been used for since the inception of all currency. Anyways, so that's the cover. Anyways, in my opinion, this whole thing right here, where it talks about why they're banning it, to thwart potential use of terrorism and buying illegal goods and services and whatever. I think yes. I think that is a concern, but that's always a concern, even in fiat currencies. I think there's something deeper here, and I think the whole world is starting to see how deep Bitcoins can affect their control over their citizens and over their perception, how other nations perceive that country, and so or their threat in the new world order. Okay, the new world order, right? And so, or versus the old new world order, if that makes sense. So, I think I mentioned in my previous episode with the hacking of Satoshi Nakamoto's email account. I mentioned that I've had entities come to me in which I've asked them to go find Satoshi Nakamoto, and maybe one of them has. I don't know. I'm still waiting, but nothing's come of it yet. So, anyways, that was just a test. I wanted to test and here's the crazy thing. If you can use Bitcoin to buy top secret information anonymously, without ever stepping foot on another country, on another foreign soil, is it possible to basically spy in the safety of your own jurisdiction? And the answer is yes. So lately it's been, and the way I've seen it, it's been hacking. You hack into someone's network and you try to retrieve, information. Well, interestingly enough, you may not need to hack into other people's network. All right. What you would merely do is put the word out, put a message out that you're looking for top secret information. and the payment would be in Bitcoins. And then what would happen is you would make a promise. All right, you would make a promise that not only would you pay them for the top secret information, but also that you would be able to extract them out of their country. And I don't know, like for example, I live in the U.S. You would implant them into the U.S. Now you would say, well, who would take care of them? Well, if they got enough Bitcoins, they can sell their Bitcoins in the U.S. All they have to do is just go into one of my many locations and anonymously cash in their Bitcoins for U.S. dollars. That'd be, United States of American dollars. So, getting someone to hack or try to discover who Satoshi Nakamoto was just a test. Now, I'm not saying I had a direct impact on that, but I did mention in my video that the hacker did come to me, and I requested this hacker to go find Satoshi Nakamoto, find out who he is, or her, or whatever group. And it looks like it came close. Haven't received anything yet, haven't heard anything yet, but that just goes to show how useful Bitcoin is to every country, every nation. If you're not using it, if you're not allowing it to grow in your country or in your nation, you're missing out. You really are. You guys are missing out. If you read this article, you would understand what I'm talking about. But most importantly, there'd be no way to defend yourself. You're basically without any arms. You have nothing to defend yourself, and you will be attacked every day. And matter of fact, banning it makes it even more valuable. Okay, that's all you're doing. You're just making it more valuable because there's no way for you to control this. And so here's the thing, so someone's basically a spy within your own country, and it's not a foreign spy. It's one of you. It's one of your guys, and they're on the inside, and they're leaking top secret information for Bitcoins. And then when it comes time to extract them, you basically they're going to be extracted, and then they'll have their Bitcoins, and then when they're implanted wherever they want to be implanted, new identity, new name, whatever, new family life, whatever, they'll have a place to cash out and be rewarded for their services. So this kind of opens up a lot of stuff, like, okay, just if you could imagine, right? You live in an oppressive country, right, where you're smarter than the average bear, and you come to realize that you live. You could do so much more with your life if you lived somewhere else, right? If you lived somewhere else, you could do so much more with your life. Life would be more meaningful. It'd be more gratifying. You'd have more satisfaction, and then you would know that your future and your children's future and their children's future would be better than what it is now with you. What better way to do that than with Bitcoin? And so, um, my point is if you live in an oppressive country and you want out, um, let Bitcoin help you. You know, provide information we need in exchange for Bitcoin, and when the time comes, you'll be extracted and then relocated where you can expend your Bitcoins anonymously, and hopefully you live in a better place where your country isn't oppressive and you're not enslaved. You're free. So, and my whole point is, I'm trying to get to is, like, when you live in the absolute free world and you send, let's say you send an agent in to go undercover, and then a couple days goes by, a couple months go by, and you haven't heard from that agent. You're like, what's going on? I mean, is he dead? Or she dead? Is this agent dead? Have they been compromised? Well, no. They really didn't want to be working for you all in the first place. Now that they have absolute free will, why would they want to come back? They'll have a whole new life, a whole new identity. You won't be able to find them, right? They'll become a ghost, and they won't be working for you. They'll work for themselves, and they'll understand that a world that's of absolute free will is a better world than where they came from. So why would they go back? As soon as you release them, they're gone. They're never coming back. And so that's the scary part about it. Is if you can, the only thing I guess the only reasoning behind Russia's ban is they think that maybe banning will prevent people from using it. It's actually going to have the opposite effect. You're going to start seeing people trying to leave your country. They're going to gather all their Bitcoins. If that means selling top secret information to get them out of that country, they'll do it. And then whoever you send, they're never coming back, because they're just going to take off. They're going to realize that, wherever they came from, that world sucks. And the world they were sent to is so much better. They're going to just abandon ship. And here's the ironic thing is, you all sent them there. You all sent the agent to that location, and do you really think they're really going to come back? Anyways, that's just my opinion on this whole thing. And I think that's the real reason why they're going to start banning Bitcoins, is because it's now going to become an anonymous way to pay, for top secret information, right? It's going to be a way to pay spies within your own country. And then at a later time, they'll be extracted out, which they'll have their own Bitcoins. They'll have the Bitcoins. They'll have their steak. A nice juicy T-bone steak. And once they come into the desired country where they want to be, with new identity and new life, they can expend their Bitcoin. And there'll be places for them to do so. Ironic? Yes. Anyway, so if you ask me what this is all about, I think this is more than just being afraid of terrorism. I guess you could say it is kind of like terrorism. They're afraid of people defecting, in my opinion. And just like Ecuador and Bolivia, I think you're going to start seeing people defecting. But they're not going to leave. They're going to stay there, and they're going to do their damage. They're going to provide information, and then at the point, I guess you could say they'll be extracted and then implanted wherever they want to be, wherever they feel they have absolute free will, and they'll have a good life. and you'll never know who they are. Never know. Anyways, there's that, and then there's this article here I want to go through real quick, which I thought it was a pretty good article. I did read through it, and they're talking about the recent deal with PayPal, Braintree, but they asked some more deeper questions, like for example, you know, mass adoption. Is it good for the Bitcoin ecosystem? And they ask some questions here. You got to read the whole article. By the way, I don't. If you want to know, do I trade for PayPal money? No, I don't. I don't trade for PayPal money. For me, PayPal is also fake. It doesn't exist. It's not real. It's fake money. It's an illusion. It's nothing more than a stored value device created by PayPal in this case for internet use, but it's no different than a credit card, anything that's been wired, a check. It's not real, if you ask me. Just to let you know. Anyways, they asked some very interesting questions here. Let me see if I can get to them. Well, looks like that it's a little too long, too many questions. Anyways, this whole idea of mass adoption. I think there's going to be mass adoption, but it's not going to come from the masses. It's going to be from believers and non-believers, and at some point there will be more believers than non-believers, but it's not going to be for everyone. I want to let you all know. I mean, I really believe that for the people who don't believe, they will be dying off. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to go and kill them. What I'm saying is, eventually, over time, people who don't believe will not be relevant in the new world, because they won't be a part of the new world. They'll be dead. So that's that. Anyway, let's go into a chart analysis. That's what y'all have been waiting for. So I just want to give that point. I think I did an earlier episode, but I deleted that because some new relevant information just came about. So I just decided to do a whole new episode. So here's the price of Coinbase, and now it's at 480 now, and you can see it hitting up against that resistance average right here. It's been a resistance because it's hit several times here and gone back down. So it's now maintaining here. There's not really much room to go down because it's pretty much reached the bottom. And if you can tell by the bottom is that several times it's come around at this price level several times and hasn't gone down further. So that means at least, people are holding on at this level right here, right around here at this price level. And so if there are any sellers, they've all exhausted themselves, and I think that's an indication up here that this was a little oversell, but there's buying. And then as you can see, the average as it zigzags into another triangle, you can see where a good bottom is starting to form. In other words, a good support. And so if it's not going down anymore, the sellers have exhausted themselves. And I've also noticed that getting Bitcoins has become harder, even for me. It's becoming harder and harder. I have to now go to several different miners to get the Bitcoins that I want. So it's getting harder and harder. And it also must be getting, I wouldn't say harder to sell, but I think it's getting harder and harder for miners to find a reliable source to sell their Bitcoins as well. So the price is going down. Finding reliable buyers uh, under something in the conditions that the miners would prefer in a safe way, because miners probably get scammed as well. And so it's getting harder in both that way, and then also um, the difficulty in getting bitcoins is getting more difficult. So, but let's take a look at the price analysis and see what's happening here. So we're looking here at the, oh, sorry for the, there you go. So you're looking at the Chinese money, which is right here, and they're slightly up, but Bitfin and Bitstamp is up. Now it's a $10 difference. So you're gonna start seeing, which is good, because I think that means there's gonna be an up movement here, which is, well, obviously occurring right now. But if it continues to go along these spreads here, you're going to probably see, as soon as the Chinese wake up, you're probably going to see this go and start to be par with all the other Bitstamp, Bitfin, and then Coinbase. You're going to start seeing that becoming par, and then you may start seeing Bitfin or Coinbase or one of the three major US dollar exchanges to start rising in price, being a leading price indicator, and then Bitsy will always trail. If it starts trailing more than, if it's trailing $10 now, and then it may start trailing even more, maybe up to $15. That's when you know you really got a spike in price going on for you. So look at the Chinese is starting to move up a little bit now, starting to catch up. So based on that, I'm starting to see movements going up in price, which is good. And so just based on that, so and if all it has to do is, if you're following the price, it just goes down, 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 and then down. So all it has to do is, if it could finish above whatever this high is, 490. So if it could finish above 490, if it can actually go above 490 and then also stay above 490, there's a good chance it's gonna probably go back up in price. As far as short-term trend, overall it's been going down. It's been steady around at looks like at 440 to 600 at least, in that range, long term. But eventually I think there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure on the miners, and I think that pressure is gonna be reflected in through the market. It's gonna get harder and harder to get bitcoins. They're getting less bitcoins, less to go around, less to buy, and that will translate into the market, and it will be less bitcoins available. Although bitcoins will go into circulation, there's more and more bitcoins going into the market, but the rate is going to slow down. And as more and more people start buying or trying to flee their countries in hopes to go into another country that has absolute free will, or finding a place that allows absolute free will, I think you're going to start seeing the value of Bitcoin start to go up, because I think people are really going to understand, what does it really mean? What does it really mean to own a Bitcoin, to have a Bitcoin? And you're going to start realizing it means your freedom from enslavement, and that's going to be big, especially for the people who want a better life, want a better world. It's going to be worth, to some point, even worth dying for. At some point, it will be. I mean, people are going to be fighting for this. They may even kill for it. So, be ready. Be ready. Raise your army. Start bearing some arms. and be ready to battle, because it's just the battle's just begun. I mean, literally, the battle is just starting. So be prepared, everyone. Anyways, that's the episode here. Sorry if this is long. In any case, I just wanted to share those articles here. It wouldn't surprise me if you start seeing China, India, those countries specifically start banning the use of Bitcoins. And also, watch out for these. I think you're going to start seeing a lot of mining pools start to come up, and they're nothing more than scams or Ponzi schemes. Cloud hashing, I think that's for the most part a scam or a Ponzi scheme. I really do. I think mining in general is a scam. Okay, because I don't own a mining rig, a computer mining rig per se. The mining rig that I own has a different kind of computing power. It's the human computing power. And as far as I know, I think, and this relates back to this, as far as I'm concerned, I really believe the computing power of the human mind can keep up with Moore's law. It can. So this is going to be different. We're going to go beyond computers. We're going to go beyond hardware. We're going to get into some kind of like bio hardware, where you got biotechnology and computer technology merging together. That's what you're going to start seeing more of, I believe, in the future. And this is what's going to drive it. That's a crazy theory, but you know, why not? I've always grown up thinking, by the time, you know, when I was a kid, I thought to myself, man, we're going to be like flying. Well, we're still driving on the ground. We're not really flying anywhere. And at least I thought we'd be hovering, and we don't need gas anymore. We'd be making a different kind of technology, but here we are, still using gas, using the wheel. So I think it's just a matter of time that there's another breakout that's going to happen, and it's not going to be quite a technological breakout. It's going to be a human breakout. People are going to actually start becoming the resource of power. Anyways, this concludes this episode. Sorry if this is so long. I just want to do an episode on those articles because, that's big. That's kind of big news. But if you look at the price, again, nobody cares. Nobody cares about Russia, because what Russia does doesn't affect Bitcoin. None of the price action that I see here, or nothing here in the price action that I see, tells me that a ban in Russia for the use of Bitcoin doesn't make a difference. So, anyways, feel free to like, dislike, leave a comment, even do a video response. Until next time, stay tuned.